Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sander Lanch podcast. Today, we are starting a new book. We're starting book 3 of the Stormlight Archive, Oathbringer, and we read the prologue and chapters 1, 2, and 3. In these, we get an Eshonai perspective in the prologue. Last time, I think Joe and Jamie were putting money on Navani, but that bet did not pay off. And then we get some stuff happening in Urithiru, and then our first Dalinar flashback. So it's a very, very interesting opening here. I'm Data, and with me today is
Dak and Joe.
No Jamie this week. We swapped out. We got Dak back. We traded Jamie away to another baseball team. It's very sad. Another podcast. I don't know. If we were going to trade somebody to another podcast, who would we want in return?
I don't know of any other podcasts. Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't even be like a Sanderson podcast. It'd just be this tell them Steve Dave.
Sure. You guys could have Brian Quinn from the Impractical Jokers, and I could go be on Tell 'em Steve Dave. I would take that
trade. Anyway, so yeah, just the 3 guys this week, but we'll try to keep it interesting for you.
Just turned the episode off.
I know, right? Yeah, it's like our numbers just dropped right through the floor. It's very sad. Anyway, hang on to something, everybody. The Sander Lanch is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the falling rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So yeah, the song that you just heard, the one that we're using for this book, is Break of Dawn by Miracle of Sound, the Destiny 2 song. So check that one out if you've never listened to the full thing. I quite like that one. I never played any Destiny 2, but Joe, you played some Destiny 2, right?
Yeah, I've played pretty much every season. Well, I say that. There's a couple seasons I missed, but a couple of friends of mine are pretty heavily into it. So I played a lot with Poet, who's on the show, when he was still into it, but he's kind of given up on it.
You know, you move on, do other things.
Yeah.
I also want to take this opportunity before we start, since we are doing a new book and could potentially have some new people joining us, do our warning that this is full spoilers for everything that we have read so far. So that includes Mistborn Era 1, Secret History, Mistborn Era 2, Elantris, all of actually Arcanum Unbounded to this point. Anything that was in Arcanum Unbounded we've read now, as well as Warbreaker and, of course, Way of Kings and Words of Radiance. If you're joining at Oathbringer and weren't expecting spoilers for Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, then I don't know what to tell you. But if you haven't read any of that and you're worried about spoilers for it, you might want to go back, read those, listen to our old episodes before starting in with us at this point. Just warning up front, since some people have run into that issue before. So we did 4 chapters, I guess, a prologue and 3 chapters. What did you guys think of the beginning of Oathbringer?
Well, this was all Dalinar all the time. Not that I'm complaining. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Prologue, Eshonai, that was cool. Gives me hope that we will see Eshonai again, because why would you have her, the perspective character, if she's dead and gone? Although I do think in the prologue, we didn't really learn a lot that we didn't already know. I think just with her discussion with Gavilar was very much, okay, we kind of already knew that, or at least we surmised it. So, but it was still cool. It's like to see, I guess, like confirmation, if nothing else. It does, yeah. I do have questions regarding, all right, so if Odium is their god, then, like, what the fuck? Like, so these guys are just like the armies of, like, hell? Like the Voidringers that Odium intended to sweep the galaxy with? Or I don't know. We'll see. And then the actual chapters. So, fun and games. Stormfather's a grouch, which is fun. Sadeas is still dead, which is also fun. Everyone is freaking the fuck out about that, which is hilarious. Adelin's just like, oh god, what did I do? And they're all trying to, like, okay, what the fuck do we do about this? This is not good. And Adelin's in the back just going, yeah, I don't know. Sucks, huh?
Super weird, right? Like, yeah. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, he's dead. How did that? Wow, who would do that?
I like Dak's note. Sadeas is still dead. It's like, no, he did not come back to life in between. That would have been weird. Like,
Yeah, whoa.
he pops
Yeah,
back
well.
up.
Opening chapter, Sadie's perspective. What?
He's a Khandra. I knew it.
I was dead. I thought I was dead. I should be dead. Why am I not dead? And then Nail shows up and he's like, I've chosen you. And he's like, ah, shit.
And then Nail shows up and he's like, Nail. Even though he's like, why are you saying that? You're Nail.
Yeah, this is confusing.
You want the real twist later on. Sadius is going to show up. Everyone's going to be like, why is Sadius so big and blue? Oh my god, he's a Koloss. And then they'd find out someone took his skin. Fuck am I talking about? Anyway, so it was cool. All right, so it sets the tone. That's obviously going to be part of the big conflict because we're just jumping in with both feet into, all right, we're not safe in Urithiru. Something's going wrong, and all that political bullshitting that Sadius set him up for. He's just become a martyr for it. It's going to keep on rolling. Like, his people are still just like, man, fuck Dalinar. And so, yeah, like there's a brief mention of Eli, which I'm like, okay, still scared of that woman. Not looking forward to how she responds to all this.
Mm.
And then we get the flashback chapter, and we see Dalinar as a young man, and holy fuck, that is not the Dalinar we know. Back when he's just all about all killing all the time, being a massive jerkbag to his enemies. Like, his whole thing with the archer is like, man, you're a really good shot. I want you in my army. And the guy's like, I just tried to kill you. And Dalinar's like, yeah, don't make a habit of that. It's like, wow, okay, Dalinar is ruthless and pragmatic as a young man. So, interesting. Yeah, we'll see where all that goes. Very Dalinar heavy, these chapters. Like, Kaladin's obviously gone, and Shallan barely showed up. So, yeah, fun.
Yeah, Dalinar, a very different fellow in the flashback, for sure.
Yep. Is this before are these flashbacks before he had the boys, or is he already a dad at this point?
No, this definitely seems to be before he has. He didn't mention any kids anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I don't think he mentioned a wife, but I guess that's nothing new.
Have you already forgotten her, Dalinar? Jeez.
Yeah.
He forgot his wife. He forgot his kids. He's just having a good time, slaughtering wantonly.
Yeah, he's basically Bardock.
Yeah, but he had a wife.
True.
Yeah, these chapters were an interesting start for sure. The Eshonai prologue, I wasn't expecting that. So we got some. I think we got some really interesting tidbits about Gavilar. He seemed a lot more plugged in to the goings on in the Cosmere-ness of it all on their planet than I had previously thought. Of course, we didn't have a lot of information about him to begin with, but man, he seems pretty plugged in. The fact that he was basically trying for a war in order to get the Radiants to come back, like it's this whole thing that I'm like, okay, what was the ultimate game? It sounds as if it was basically to get things rolling in order to defeat the big bad evil, but at the same time, like, I don't know that the way he was going about it was the best idea. And of course, we don't know the influences that he had at that time yet to make that decision, but it just doesn't seem like a great decision. And I am surprised by how quickly the Parshendi found out about what was going on and then decided to have him killed. Right. It was all within that small time frame. There's obviously like stuff going on behind the scenes for that assassination to be set up, though, especially with the way that her sister was apparently involved. There's obviously way more stuff going on with her sister, because we were kind of thinking that in the last book that her sister was like kind of instigating some stuff, but this seems like there's a big amount of influence that her sister was having behind the scenes in order to get this assassination set up. So it's definitely more going on than we know. And then Dalinar with all his stuff, reacting to Sadeas's death. It's not unsurprising, his reaction. It's like everybody else was like, hey, we're better off. And he's like, I mean, we're really not. But at the same time, I don't know that Dalinar's really thinking that through all the way. He's probably just reacting in that moment. Because, he could say, well, we need all the fighters we can get. But at the same time, if you're just going to have somebody in that city undermining you the entire time, I think it's going to be more of a hindrance than a help. So I think he's being a little too optimistic about having Sadeas there. So Sadeas is gone. Adolin, that's going to have to play out eventually. What all is going on with that? It's if somebody besides Dalinar finds out that Adolin was responsible, it's certainly going to make it look as though Dalinar wanted Sidious to be dead. So that's probably not good. And then the flashback. Oh boy, it almost made me think that Dalinar's unaware of how he used to be, right? Because he's like the internal monologue perspectives that we've gotten from him in the last 2 books. It's almost as if he always thought he was kind of like he admits that he was foolish and kind of just like the warrior, right? But this flashback kind of shows us like even a darker side of it. And when you see that flashback and you see how he acts and the kind of man that he was, it actually is no wonder that he and Sidious used to be really good friends, because it seems like he was he was pragmatic, but at the same time he was ruthless. At least it seems to me. And so it's actually not a super big surprise that the Dalinar of old and the Sidious were friends. He almost seems not worse than Sidious, but definitely more war hungry, let's conquer it, than even Sidious at that point. And then we don't know enough about Toril Sidious as a young man to make that decision completely, but it also at the same time it doesn't surprise me that they were better friends previously.
Sure.
So, but yeah, all good stuff. We're just getting started, so I'm looking forward to getting into the meat of the story and what's going to happen next. I want Yasna to show up and stuff, so we'll see if and when that happens. That would be great. It would be kind of crummy if Yasna still was not with the main group for the rest of the story. That would not be cool.
Yeah, I guess she's not here yet, but they haven't had that much time. Apparently, Wit said it was a long walk from wherever they started last time to the next city. So
yeah, and also I based on events that we were told about, it looks like this is before the events with Lift. So at this point, the Lift stuff hasn't happened, at least not in these first couple chapters.
Also, you make an interesting point about Dalinar regretting the death of Sadeas, where you're like, I don't think he's thinking this all the way through. Like, we know from what Sadeas said to Adolin at the end of the last book, like, he was not going to slow down with his attempts to undermine Dalinar. It's possible that Dalinar thinks like, well, he'll see that I was right now and we can work together again or whatever. He may have been, it's possible that he's like overestimating the reasonableness of Sadeas.
Certainly wouldn't be the first time.
You're not wrong. Yeah. And yet, I guess it really depends what ramifications are we going to end up with from Sadeas' death. It could be worse than having Sadeas around. We don't know. You guys even pointed out Iolai's still out there. Like, what is she going to do after this? All right, let's get into these chapters, I guess. We started with the prologue, To Weep. And it is an Eshonai perspective, as we said. And also, as you guys pointed out, we have no idea modern day if Eshonai survived that big final battle. She got kicked off into the chasm, but who knows what happened. I mean, even if she survived falling into the chasm, we know that like a high storm was on the way. So that's not a good place to be in a high storm. But maybe she made it.
Yeah, but Parshendi and Shardplate, we've seen Eshonai pull off some pretty spectacular feats in that before.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
So this is her 6 years ago, though. And she's thinking about how she used to like go out and explore. She always wanted to know what was over the next hill. And then she found humans. And at first she thought like, oh, they must have forgotten their other forms, just like we once did. But no, they only have the one form, those weird humans. And now it's the night of that will become Gavilar's death, and they are in Kholinar for the big party. They've come a further distance than she's ever traveled before, and she's excited just by that part of it.
If you guys could have another form, let's say you could have one of the Parshendi forms that we know about so far, what would you want to shift into?
Oh, of ones that we know about so far.
Yeah.
Well, what do we know? We know mate form, dull form, storm
pass.
form.
Maybe.
What's the like scholar form? Is it scholar form? Is that what
they
it's
were
called?
searching for scholar form? They didn't have it, and they were searching for art form also, and they didn't have that one. So I guess we know those exist. We could go with those.
And like war form.
War form is the one that they fight in. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I'd go for scholar form. I don't know.
What was the
art form? Maybe.
What was the form that her sister was in before, they shifted all to storm form or whatever it's called?
Since they didn't have scholars, they were using, I think, nimble form as scholars.
Well, that could be
nimble.
fun.
Yeah, nimble form might be interesting.
Yeah. Mate form doesn't sound like that much fun. Well,
I mean, it sounds like it could be the most fun, but
well, yeah, I was about to say that's not exactly the way that I should put that actually, but yeah.
That's when they start calling you Crab Brannigan.
Crab Kiff is not amused.
No.
Crab Kiff would be scholar form.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see some more of these like forms of power that have been lost. We heard several of the names, but in epigraphs at some point, but they had like we didn't get explanations. We just got like weird, freaky references to them. Like there was one that was like for sneaking and being unseen and stuff like that. I don't know. There were many forms that we heard about, but we have not seen yet. So Eshonai is helping unload the drums from the cart. They got to play the drums. And then partway through, she just wanders off and she's like, they're used to me doing that. Like that's just how I am. And we talk about, or she thinks about these little listeners that the humans have with them. They're trapped in dull form. Although I think we've been told later on that there's a difference between Parshendi and dull form. Or I mean, parchment and dull form, I should say. Eshonai had assumed the humans were taking care of the poor souls without songs. How innocent those first meetings had been.
Yeah. The Alethi people kind of suck.
No joke. Yeah. It's like some parshmen are coming up while they're unloading the wagons, and Geth is like, oh, look, these little rhythmless ones want to be near us and help. They sense that something is wrong with their minds, I tell you. And Eshonai's like, you're not needed. We want to handle our own drums. Shoo. Go enjoy yourselves, she tells them. And there's like, what? And slaves are a new concept to the Parshendi, like owning someone else. Clade, one of the 5, had gone to the slavers in Kholinar and purchased a person just to see if it was actually possible. He hadn't even bought a parchment. He bought an Alethi that was for sale. Apparently, parchmen were expensive, high-quality slaves. The listeners had been told this as if it was supposed to make them proud. Like, yeah, you guys are worth way more.
Yeah, so as we find out later, we learn who this is that they have just happened to purchase on a whim. I'm like, that seems like a very convenient coincidence. So,
yeah, well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Eshonai wanders off, gonna go do something else. And she's exploring this like crazy palace. Like, holy crap, this is huge and insane. She's wearing work form because it's more flexible than war form.
Oh, 100%. I do not want that form.
No, that doesn't sound fun. And they were told that they could, go around and explore the palace. As long as there's no guards at a door, you're free to check stuff out. So she does that. There's a room with paintings on all the walls. There's one with a bed and some furniture. An indoor privy with running water, a marvel she still didn't understand. And then she finds a room with the king in it. And she's like, oh, whoops, my bad, and tries to take off. And he's surrounded by some officers and some women in dresses and an old man in robes. She's like, why is he not at the feast? And why aren't there guards on the door where the king is? And then a man in uniform comes out and says, the king would like to see you, Parshendi. And she tries to, it's like, no hablo. She's like, what? Words? Sorry? And the guy who we find out is Amaram is like, don't be coy. You're one of their interpreters. Come on. You're not in trouble or anything. And then Gavilar says, thank you, Meritus. Leave us for a moment, all of you. So Meritus Amaram in a quiet indoor meeting with the king here, behind closed doors, I guess I should say.
I completely forgot that was his first name.
We'll see. There you go.
Yeah. So, all right. Does this mean when Yasna, in her prologue, she saw Amaram come in to chat with Gavilar, this then is after that?
Maybe. Yeah, because I think he may have told him when Yasna runs into them, like Gavilar stops talking to Yasna. He's like, well, I'll talk to you later or something. So, yeah, maybe this is after that. And the king wants to show Eshonai something. Like, he knows her name, and she's kind of like, oh, okay.
I mean, that sort of tracks, wasn't like Gavilar was like the first one to make contact with the Parshendi, and now we know that Eshonai was the first one to make contact with the humans. So they're like, they were the first contact for each of their people.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I assume it wasn't Gavilar
surprised?
personally, but like his group that did. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she's thinking, this guy's more confusing than any other human. Why did he offer us such a favorable treaty? Like, at first they thought it was just, to keep the peace between these two people. And now they've seen how huge the armies and the cities and stuff are. Is like, oh, they could take us no problem. Not only that, it's like they've kept their shards hidden from the humans to protect themselves. But she's seen over a dozen shard blades and suits among the Alethi by now. So even that's not. Why is he doing this? And the king's like, don't be afraid. You're just really good at speaking our language, and I want to talk to you about something.
I don't know why. It just made me think of, do you come from a land down under?
Okay.
Can you speak my language?
Speak my language? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then Gavlar gave her a Vegemite sandwich.
I got this from the Herdazians.
Yeah, exactly.
They like all kinds of weird stuff. There's actually crab shells in it too, so watch out. It's Vegemite and crab shells.
Crabamite. Yeah.
Crabamite. Yeah, it's Vegemite made from crabs.
So he shows off a fabrial, a warming fabrial, which this is a small one, but my wife thinks that they can make one that'll heat a whole room, which we have seen in the present day, which is 6 years after this. But he says, look at the gemstone here. There, you see what's inside? There's a spread in there. That's how this device works. And she thinks captive, like in a gem heart. They've built devices that mimic how we apply the forms. So, And then he goes, the chasm fiends aren't your gods, are they? And she's like, what? Why would you ask that? That's just something I'm thinking about. I need you to deliver a message to your leaders. The 5. I'm being watched too closely, so I can't do it. Tell them that I've discovered how to bring your gods back. And she goes, no. And he says, my ancestors learned how to hold a spren inside a gemstone, and with a very special gemstone, you can hold even a god. And she says, Your Majesty, no, we don't worship those gods. We abandon them. And he's like, but this is good for both of us. We live without honor, for your gods once brought ours. Without them, we have no power. The world is stuck in a dull, lifeless state of transition. And then he looks up, and he's like, unite them. I need a threat. Only danger will unite them. So he's receiving, as we were told, visions, and we assume that they were similar visions to what Dalinar has been receiving. That's been our guess anyway. And apparently he's also being told to unite them. And his approach to unite, quote, unite them is, I need a danger that will unite them. Got to have an enemy to unite against. So, okay. I get his perspective there. It's true that nothing unites like a good enemy, but you're playing with fire, my man.
I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's confusing. I'm like, what is your game, man? What do you want? What are you trying to do?
And then he says, our enslaved parshmen were once like you. We robbed them of their ability to transform somehow. We did it by capturing an ancient crucial spren. I've seen how that can be reversed. A new storm that will bring the heralds out of hiding, a new war.
A crucial spren. So what does that mean? Is he... Later we find out about the Unmade. Is it one of the Unmade? Like, what is he doing?
This is an excellent question.
But he thinks that, like, unleashing the spren unleashes the storm, and like they didn't need the storm. No, they didn't need to unleash a giant spren to make the storm. It's here. It's not that we know of, anyway.
Well, and he may not be saying that. He says, we robbed them of the power to undergo the transformation by capturing a spren. I've seen how that can be reversed. That doesn't necessarily mean uncapture the spren. It might mean just like unrob them of their transformations.
Oh, okay. Yep, fair point.
And she's just like, this is crazy. Our gods tried to destroy you. And he's like, the old words must be spoken again. And she starts to be like, no, you can't. And then she notices that the table has a big old map on it. And she loves maps. So she's distracted from this conversation immediately. She's like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Nothing I've seen is as beautiful as this.
You're going to bring our gods back. That's such terrible. Holy shit, look at these maps.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I love a good map. You got the best one I've ever seen.
And he doesn't even notice that she's suddenly distracted. He's just like, well, I thought you would be pleased to hear that we're allies in seeking the return of your gods. You claim to fear them, but why fear what made you live? My people need to be united, and I need an empire that won't turn to infighting once I'm gone. Which, what I took from that is like, his whole goal is that he wants to be like remembered as like this great uniter or whatever, after he's gone, and so he needs to make sure that doesn't happen. That like he's not forgotten, that things don't fall apart once he's gone.
Well, I mean, yeah, like anyone, if your whole goal is to unite people, you don't want them to start fighting the second you're dead. Like, I get that.
Which they didn't to his, but only because they had a goal to avenge him, I think.
And then they fell into slovenliness and competing against each other.
And she's like, why are you seeking war? And he goes, I seek for an end to something that we never finished. My people were radiant once, and your people were vibrant. Who is served by this drab world where my people fight each other in endless squabbles without light to guide them, and your people are as good as corpses? And then she looks back at the map, and she's like, where's the Shattered Plains? Is that this part here? And he's like, no, that's all of Natanatan that you gesture towards. This is the Shattered Plains, this tiny piece no bigger than a thumbnail. And she's like, holy shit, the world is huge. I'd never realized. And actually, I skipped over, but we did get a new map of Roshar at the beginning of, before the prologue. But it's basically the same as the map that we've seen before, except we've added Urithiru to it. And you guys, it's not a new addition, but we met somebody in Edge Dancer who was an Amian. And so you got to remember the little area off to the left is Amia. Just a side note.
I was just looking, I saw Amy. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we know that Axes the Collector was an Amian, a Sia Amian, and then a certain crab guy implied that he was also an Amian, but of a different kind in Edge Dancer. So the conversation ends with Gavilar pulling out a sphere. It was dark and yet still glowed with an aura of blackness, a phantom light that was not light, faintly violet. It seemed to suck in the light around it. And he says, take this to the Five, explain what I told you, tell them to remember what your people once were. Wake up. And so she takes the sphere and runs. And so, yeah, the Five not happy to hear about this whole bringing gods back thing. And they're like, we have to do something. It turns out this guy that Clade has gone and bought is an assassin. Clade claimed that a voice speaking to the rhythms had led him to the man who confessed his skills when pressed. Venli had apparently been with Clade, though Eshunai hadn't seen her sister since earlier in the day. So, Guy goes off to the market to buy a slave, just to see if it's possible, and takes Venli along, and then some weird voice is speaking to him. It's like, hey, go buy this guy. So, not exactly a coincidence, because I agree that would have been an insane coincidence, but it's almost more disturbing that some mysterious force is actually apparently manipulating this.
Yeah. And it's like, I genuinely don't know anymore. Like, so if the Voidbringers are implements of Odium, we assume, then, and Gavilar wants to bring them back, like, what? So is Odium, like, the one saying, get Seth, kill Gavilar, make it all take a bit longer? Or is that, like, was that Stormfather trying to say, but we don't trust Venli either, so I have no fucking idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah, there's wheels turning here, and we can't see who's turning all of them. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of what Gavilar said is like we sort of knew from, I guess, from Amaram's little section at the end of the last book, where he's like, oh yeah, like which we were always trying to summon. Like, we wanted to get the Honor Blades, we wanted to summon the Voidbringers, we want to make the Radiants come back. Like, we sort of knew most of that from that. So, like not a lot of new information from Gavilar. I guess the twist is the fact that he just so readily confessed it and seemed to think it was a good thing to Eshunai, even though he's like, oh yeah, like, we want to return you to your thing because we need a war. So it's like, so they were going back to a war? Like, he was deliberately trying to set them up to be the Voidbringers, so that the Alethi could unite against them, and he told them that? That sounds like a boneheaded move of Gavilar.
That's kind of true. It's like, why would you tell them?
It's like, yeah, I give you a favorable treaty, I treat you as friends, and we're going to turn you back into monsters so we can kill you all. Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah, that's what we wanted, right?
I will point out,
enjoy the good times until then.
Yeah, you guys will be great.
Really, what Gavilar's doing is playing the most dangerous game, just on a global scale.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm going to turn you into things I want to hunt, and then I'm going to hunt you down.
I'll draw your attention back for one moment to the sphere that he gave her. Do you guys remember having seen a sphere like this before?
Nah, I don't remember. You're just gonna have to tell me.
Yep.
It has been a long time. So all the way back in Way of Kings, in the prologue, Seth kills Gavilar, and then as he's dying, Gavilar pulls out a thing and says, "You have to take this. They must not get it. Tell my brother he must find the most important words a man can say." And it is a sphere with a dark light that was almost black. So he had more than one of these, whatever it is, and he gave one to Seth and one to Eshonai. What they mean, we still have no idea at this point, but it's been in play for a while now.
The man who kills me will know what it means.
And Seth is like, I just killed you. I got no fucking idea, man.
He gives it to Eshonai, and Eshonai does nothing. He's like, I was right not to fear you.
And so we end with Eshonai playing the drums as she's weeping and trying to avoid looking at the assassin. She'd voted with the others for this course of action. And then they pull her away. They have to run for it because they're going to be in big trouble after the king is killed. That's the end of our prologue. So we know, I think from the previous prologue, that like I don't know if it was all the 5 or some of their leaders stayed behind to take the blame, and they were executed while the rest of the Parshendi escaped. So that is kind of, we're seeing the other side of that here. And we start part 1, United. And there's a cool image here. The map of the Oathgate locations is what it calls this. So Urithiru, the big tower in the middle, and then 10 different places with Oathgates. So we got in the Reshi Isles, Kurth. In Yakoved, Vedinar, the capital of Yakoved. Kolinar in Alethkar has an Oathgate. Narak on the Shattered Plains. Thaylen City in Thaylana. Azamir in Azir. That's the capital city. That's where Lith was heading to. Akina in Amia. And then it just says Shinovar. Ral Ilorum in Iri. And Panatham in Babatharnum. Okay. And so there's the locations of the 10 Oathgates in the world. And our epigraphs here are from Oathbringer. So an in-universe book, document, something called Oathbringer.
So all the book titles of the Stormlight books are in-universe texts?
So far, it seems like that. I mean, it is called the Stormlight Archive, so maybe it's supposed to be like an archive of these in-universe texts. I don't know.
Oh, that tracks. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, I am an idiot.
But so far, definitely, they have all been, yeah. Rhythm of War doesn't sound like a text, but it could be, I guess. Anyway, I'm certain some will feel threatened by this record. Some few may feel liberated. Most will simply feel that it should not exist. So that's a preface, all right? I think as we read more of these excerpts from Oathbringer, I want you guys to try to figure out who, if it's anyone we know that is writing this. Dalinar Kholin is in a vision standing beside the memory of a dead god. So one cool thing of his new closer connection to the Stormfather is that he can just call up these visions whenever he wants. Doesn't have to have Eye Storm. So that's kind of cool. And he's trying to like squeeze out some more juice from this, hunt down some knowledge nuggets that he's missed in these visions. And so this one is overlooking Kholinar, Dalinar's home, and the city has been destroyed. This was the first one that he saw, I think, and the one where the last one that we saw in Way of Kings, where we find out that Honor is dead and Odium has killed him and so on and so forth. And he's like, "Hey, Stormfather, can you take me down to that rubble down there?" And Stormfather's like, "Well, but you're not supposed to go there. That's not part of the thing." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care about what I'm supposed to do. Can you just do that?" And the Stormfather's like, "Yeah, fine." They've been at Urithiru for 6 days. And they're making progress, I guess. It says some in his armies thought that the whole thing was done, that the storm was a one-time catastrophic event, but Dalinar knew otherwise. He's been trying to warn everyone, but no one will believe him. And he's trying to determine, like, Kolar's this amazing city. What the hell happened to, like, turn it into this in the vision? He saw scrapes and gouges on the stones of the fallen walls, like those made by a predator in the flesh of its prey. And he's like, "Hey, I saw something in one of my visions that could do something like this, like a big stone monster ripped free of the rock." The Stormfather says this new storm will be a catastrophe, but not nearly on the scale of what follows. You can find refuge from storms, son of honor. Not so with our enemies. So very, very cheery, as he has been known to be, the Stormfather. Just a bundle of laughs.
It's his name, the Joker.
Kholinar is consumed by riots. The queen has gone silent. We kind of knew that from the last book also.
They don't seem in any rush to solve it, though. It's like, oh, we better find out about that, huh? Hey, Kaladin, can you look in on that on your way home?
I mean, they don't have any other way to get there. Like, I don't know what else they can do if communicating to them is not working. Like,
oh, sure. It's just like, it's not so much that, it's just how unconcerned they seem to be. It's like, fuck. All right. Well, I'm going to deal with that.
Well, we do have looming in Dalinar's mind the fact that a desolation is coming, and a conflict from thousands of years ago with ancient creatures and unknown powers is about to be rekindled, it says.
Yeah.
The heralds are supposed to show up and lead the charge, but I haven't heard anything about them lately, except for that one guy that showed up and claimed to be a herald. I'm just saying, you may have forgotten that. And he lets the wave of destruction overtake him this time, tells the Stormfather, don't pull me out, let me feel it. And after it passes, he sees a dark figure in black shard plate with 9 shadows. And then he hears a voice say, unite them quickly. And Dalinar's like, afterwards, he's like, what was that light I saw? And the Stormfather's like, what? I didn't see no light. It was golden and brilliant, but terrible. And Stormfather's like, oh yeah, Odium, the enemy.
Yeah. He's that guy that we don't like.
And then Dalinar says 9 shadows. And the Stormfather's like, oh, 9 shadows? Yeah, that must be the Unmade. His minions, ancient Spren.
Or ring wraiths, either one.
Yeah. It could be both. It's fine.
Like we've
yeah,
heard
they're
of
shard
some of
wraiths. They used to be men. Now they're not.
shard wraiths. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like we've got some of their names.
Yeah, we heard about some of the Unmade in the last book.
Yeah, Blinky, Dot, what's the other one?
Inky, Pinky, and Blinky.
Yeah, Inky, Pinky, and Blinky. And then Dot, right?
Dot's the Warner sister. Hold on.
Like what are you referencing?
Pac-Man.
Oh, right.
Clyde is the last guy.
Clyde, that's what it is.
You should
Inky,
remember
Pinky,
that.
Blinky, and Clyde. Hey, you don't gotta be like that.
Okay, Dalinar looks over at Navani, thinks about how pretty she is, because that's what he always does when he's looking at Navani. And he's like, I know what I have to do. I have to unite the world against the enemy faster than he can destroy it. And she's like, oh, is that all? Well,
you're skipping over a detail here, which you haven't mentioned, is the fact that Odium has a champion who's leading the Unmade. Like,
well, that's what he thinks the figure in the gold armor must be.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I mean,
or black armor or whatever it was.
Yeah, like this tracks from what we know of some of the other shards, at least. Or Autonomy definitely had chosen like one person to be like, all right, you're my avatar on this planet. So maybe Odium has the same playbook.
That's true. Well, I think in one of the flashbacks, in one of the visions that we saw, I think, hold on, let me see if I can find the quote. That's not how you spell that word. Okay, there it is. Let's see. The Almighty in the vision says, I wish I could do more for you. You might be able to get him to choose a champion. He's bound by some rules. All of us are. A champion could work well for you, but it's not certain. And without the Dawn Shards, well, I've done what I can. So the champion thing has been mentioned.
Righto. So yeah, like Honor makes it sound like, oh, you could make him choose a champion, and Dalinar's like, he's already done it. Fuck.
Yeah, maybe. But that would mean that our side needs a champion too.
So we call upon he who will save our world, the greatest of us all, Axes the Collector.
Oh, Axes. I mean, if you can't kill Axes, maybe that's a good, like, he could win that fight, maybe.
Well, I'm just saying.
I call upon my champion, the Herdazian. The Lopen.
The Lopen.
Lopen will do it.
I think Axes, because if he's up against the Unmade, the 9 terrible Spren, who's the best at sorting out Spren that we know? Axes.
He does love learning about Spren. Yeah, it's true. Navani is more concerned about what is happening right now. Like, we're stuck up in this tower, no food. We'll run out of gems to fuel the soul casters eventually. We're basically up in the middle of the mountains in the freezing cold. And a lot of our command structure is dead. So, like, He's like, yeah, I know, but we have to fight anyway. Like, we don't have a choice. The enemy is coming. He's like, hey, we can do this. My tenacity, your brilliance, we'll do this thing. And we can use the Oath Gates to move troops and support each other because there's 9 more out there that we haven't used. Right now, only the 1 pair works between Urithiru and the Shattered Plains. But there's 9 more somewhere.
Like the 2 least helpful.
Yeah. And they figured out that you have to unlock them from both sides. So they have to get someone to these other cities to unlock them before they can be used. And it has to be a Radiant. Like, it's not just anybody. And then someone shows up, a woman, a messenger. There's been an incident, a corpse discovered in the corridors. And he's like, great, I don't need this shit. Who? High Prince Toril Sadius, sir. He's been murdered. And that's the end of Broken and Divided.
Ew.
Dalinar just goes, oh no. Anyway.
Can we like wait on that? Do we have to go look at it right now?
So,
It doesn't seem so important.
what do you want me to do? Throw him off the balcony? Because I'll do it.
Actually, and I'll take a moment to say, you guys might notice now that I've showed you that image with the necklace with the different heralds on it. You may notice that at the top of each chapter in the arch is those same images of heralds.
Oh.
It's different. You always have these 4, and it's sometimes the same, 4 of the same, and sometimes it's mixed 2 and 2 or something. But it is the same images up there. The epigraph on chapter 2 is real short. I need to write it anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
How ironic that Sidaeus left Dalinar to die at a place they called the Tower, and then he was killed at a tower.
That's true. Yeah. The wheel turns, Sadius. That only matters to the people on the rim. Sorry, Firefly. Adolin is down in I guess their marketplace that they're setting up, and he's having to direct people. Like, he's like, hey, what are you doing over there? Somebody's trying to unload boxes of booze, I think, and he's like, Bright Lord, I was just unloading. That's what I think I was doing. I don't know if that's how he's supposed to. The manifest says,
Whoa, what was that? Where did the accent come from?
I don't know.
Can I give it a shot? And wait, what are we doing? What was the line again?
Bright Lord, I was just unloading. That's what I think I was doing.
Oh, Bright Lord, I was just unloading. That's what I think I was doing.
Okay, yeah, nice. So all the taverns are supposed to be set up in the same section, section 2. My aunt expressly told your high lords this. And the guy just stares at him. I can have a scribe show you. Pick the boxes back up. He's like, fine. So we're setting everything up in this big area of the tower where there's room for all these shops and things. And Navani has created a orderly way in which everything is supposed to go. And so Adolin is having to enforce this. And he's like, man, this is, I'm glad to have something to do, basically. And soldiers from some other armies are showing up. And he's like, well, I guess that's good. Having some fresh men that didn't just survive a horrible fight with the Parshendi and the Assassin in White and 2 storms. And then they have to go deal with a wagon of wine because they're setting up down here too. Jeez, nobody was paying any attention, apparently. Not only that, but we have an issue because we don't have Parchment anymore. So now you've got Dark Eyes that are having to go and haul water and do other Parchment things. And they're upset because that's beneath them. But also, wages are based on a man's rank. So you have to, like, I guess whatever, if you're of the 8th non, you have to get paid a certain amount, whether you're hauling water or working wood or whatever you're doing. So it's going to become, basically you've raised the minimum wage for the lowest level of workers, and we're not going to be able to afford this if it keeps up. We need all them slaves. Come on. Lethe society is messed up, is what I'm saying. Anyway.
He sues them by telling them they could form a guild.
It's
like hey guys, if you don't like it, unionize.
He's like, Father will certainly approve of that.
And then I don't have to deal with it.
And he's like, man, did I actually kill Toril Sadius? I mean, that's how crazy is that, right? It was he's been waiting for a day. It says it happened the day before. He's been waiting for a day for someone to find it because he knows he's going to hear about it when it gets found, right? So it's almost a relief when at long last somebody comes running for him. He's like, yeah, I know what's happening.
That's why he's hanging around watching all these booze wagons being unloaded, so that when someone comes to tell him, he can grab one and celebrate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They run up. He's like, Sidious is dead, right? And they're like, wait, how did you know that? No reason at all. Just that's kind of what I figured. A look on your face, let's go.
You had that Sadeas is dead look. I know. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I could see it in the quiver of your lip. It was
I've seen it in my dreams for years. It's like,
super
Sadeas is dead.
Right now.
Oh, and it just pops a champagne bottle. Well, then let's celebrate.
Yeah. Shalon's like, why did you make out with me so hard yesterday afternoon? No reason. No reason at all.
Because you're so awesome, Shalon.
Aylin's like, are you complaining? Well, no.
Yeah. We cut back to Dalinar, who is arriving at this location in the many tunnels in this tower. And a fight is about to break out between men in blue, men in Colin colors, and men in Sadeas colors. And Dalinar has to be like, everybody stand down or I'll have you all in the stockade. Okay. And it says, let's see. It was apparently some bridgemen who were starting into it with Sadeas' soldiers, which makes sense because the bridgemen don't like Sadeas and his guys very much.
Sadeas' soldiers is like, sir, we were asking your men to stop kicking the body. Yeah.
They kept pissing on the corpse.
It was just undignified is what it was. Tef's like, I don't care.
And Dalinar just does the Duke Commander thing. It's like, I'm going to allow this.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, it's like, also there appears to be some kind of food in his hair. That's chowder. It's delicious.
And then we find out that not only was it Bridgeman, it was Bridge 4 that were down here, because it says the men from Bridge 4 finally backed down. And Sadeas' officer just starts shouting at Dalinar, you'd better be ready for damnation's own thunder. Your men murdered a high prince. Yeah, I'm sure that they would have had no problem taking down a dude with a shard blade. Let's see.
Yeah, if he sucks enough with that sword, he deserves to die.
I mean, I'm not going to say you're right, but I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Yeah.
And Tef's like, we found him like that.
At least no more tables will be slain by that damn sword.
Yes, all across Roshar, the tables cry out and rejoice.
Table Bane has fallen.
Ding dong, Table Bane is dead. Which old dead? Oh wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
I will take this opportunity now that the capital D damnation has been brought up again. Somebody in the Discord pointed out that there's another thing, a little place that popped up in Words of Radiance that I can remind you of now that we've read the Rosharan system essay. So you remember there's 3 planets that are inhabitable in the Rosharan system, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
There was Ashin, there was Roshar, and there was Braze. You may remember the time that Kaladin wakes up in the middle of the high storm. He's protecting his majesty, and Adolin kind of digs into him. It's like, oh, sleeping on the job, huh? During that scene, there's a moment where it says, he felt as if he were standing above the void itself, damnation, known as Braze in the old songs.
Oh.
So basically the Grim Reaper, sure.
Well, no, Braze is the 3rd planet in the system, and apparently it's also called Damnation.
Was that disease magic place?
No, that was a Shin. Braze is the other.
Okay. Right.
So, yeah, somebody in Discord's like, hey, you can point this out to them. I'm like, yeah, okay. For whatever you want to make of that.
So if Braze is the void, then okay. So here's your crackpot theory. That's where the Parshendi are actually from, where the Voidbringers are from, and then Odium just kind of whipped them from one planet to the next, and now they're like the invasive species on Roshar.
So basically, what you're saying is there's a sorcerer, like a witch, that brings all of the monsters onto the planet from their planet.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very Final Fantasy VIII. It's good. It's good.
I was like, I knew you were going for something there. I wasn't sure what it was, but okay.
Yeah, all the monsters come from the moon in Final Fantasy VIII. Spoiler.
Oh, and then can you imagine? It's like, yeah. So that's why the Shattered Plains are shattered. That's not where Odium landed. That's where he threw the Voidbringers and where they landed.
Ooh.
Yes.
We didn't land on Roshar. Roshar landed on us.
So
and then in his final throws, like Odin's like, well, this isn't working, so he's going to throw the entire planet at Roshar instead.
That'll do it. Meteor hits.
And now Odium is the Voidbringer by bringing the whole void.
Yeah, that works. But okay, so back to the thing. Teft is like, hey, we found him like this. Probably tripped on his own knife. Serves him well, the Stormont bastard. And Dalinar's like, dude, Teft, shut up. Not helping. But Dalinar can immediately identify, he's been here for a while. And the officer in green's like, yeah, we've been looking for him. You lost your High Prince? These tunnels are confusing. They don't go natural directions. So they've been searching for him all night.
It's like we gave all the noblemen a bell to tie around their ankles so we could find them, but Sadeas this morning, he did not put on the noble bell.
And the guy's like, no, we couldn't find him because your men murdered him and moved the body. And I was like, nobody moved this body. You can tell how the blood was pooled here, that it's been there for hours.
I was like, oh, fuck, now we got to clean that.
Yeah, probably. Somebody has to.
On the brand new tower. Oh, God. Guys, come on. If you kill somebody, just clean up the blood, please.
We haven't even been here a week, and already there's fucking... Why couldn't whoever killed him use a shard blade? There's less mess that way.
Yeah, the heralds are going to be pissed. We got their tower dirty.
And so we cut to him a little bit later, like examining the body, trying to figure out what he can figure out from it. Elokar has apparently made it. It says that he was wounded by assassins, but he's recuperating. Not sure if he's going to show up to see the body or not. Sabariel is here, and his mistress.
Yeah. Dalinar takes like a cool half hour, and he's like, yep, that's Sadeas, all right.
And Dalinar's thinking, like, this is the sort of thing, a knife through the eye. That's how you kill an armored man with a full helmet on. This is something you practice use on the battlefield. And for her part, Navani's like, an assassin. Not good. Shallan and Adolin and Renarin have all shown up. And Kalami, one of his more senior scribes, her husband Teleb had been lost in the recent battle, but she insisted that she remain on duty. And as they're all kind of standing around looking, thinking, finally, Polona, Sabariel's mistress, is the one who's like, well, I guess that's one problem solved. And there's our chapter title drop. And everyone just stares at her. She's like, what? Don't tell me you all weren't thinking it. And Kalami, on the other hand, is like, this is going to be bad because everyone is going to assume that you had him assassinated, Dalinar. And we can't find the shard blade anywhere. Somebody probably took that, which, I mean, you would, generally. They're so valuable. And Navani's like, I mean, I wouldn't have put it like that, but she has a point. He did try to have you killed. Maybe this is for the best. And Dalinar starts looking around at everybody like, you all agree, don't you? Like, and no one replies. Like, everyone kind of does agree. Maybe Sadeas being gone is a good thing. And he's like, come with me. And he leads them all somewhere out onto a balcony. And he's looking out. And he's like, what do you see out there? And all the bridgemen like walk over, including the Herdazian, who now has 2 arms. And we find out.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, that's just a thing now. Like,
yeah, right.
Okay.
So the bridgemen have begun manifesting Windrunner powers, but they're just squires, it says. Navani says it's like an apprentice radiant that had once been common.
Right. I call bullshit on this because it's like we've learned a lot about radiants. Nobody ever said this was a thing. This is like how can I explain Lopen growing his arm back without actually making him a radiant? Because that'd be too ridiculous. Oh, he's a squire. I call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no squiring process for literally any of the others.
We haven't seen. I mean, yeah, the main characters. You're right, but that's because apparently the squire. It says it's a type of apprentice whose ability is tied to their master, a full radiant. We didn't have any full radiants before, so there was no one to squire to.
Yeah, whatever. We at least would have heard about it. I feel like.
Yeah, this seems like very out of left field.
Oh, and now we're going to go back and I'm going to search if squires were mentioned in previous books. I'm curious now because I don't remember. Okay, here we go. From one of the Words of Radiance epigraphs, that's an excerpt from Words of Radiance itself. There came 16 of the Order of Windrunners, and with them a considerable number of squires. And finding in the place the Skybreakers dividing the innocent from the guilty, there ensued a great debate.
Okay. That doesn't tell me anything except that the word squire was used.
I mean, that the Windrunners had squires.
Sure, but I mean, that could have just meant, here, hold my shard blade when I'm not using it.
It could have meant that. It's true. Yeah.
It could be like the most basic term, like, you know, the real world definition of squire, not just, oh yeah, these guys are manifesting powers on their own because they're around to bathe in my aura or whatever bullshit.
Okay, fair. All right. And I don't see the word coming up in Way of Kings, so that's the only mention.
Yeah.
Before now.
Not only that, but when Lopin used the sphere power, Kaladin was pretty far away.
It's true. He was. Yep.
He was at the tower, and Lopin was still on the Shattered Plains.
And we're told here that the Men of Bridge 4, a lot of them had started manifesting powers, but they'd lost their abilities when Kaladin flew to Alethkar to warn his family. So yeah, I mean, and Lopin's just like, I see clouds, and another bridgeman's like, yeah, lots of clouds, and someone says some mountains too. They look like teeth. And Talar's like, okay, this is not what I was going for.
Well, this is going nowhere.
We are above the storms. It's going to be easy to forget the tempest the world is facing. The Everstorm will return, bringing Voidbringers. We have to assume this will soon be the only bastion of order left in the world. And Aladar's like, order? I mean, have you seen our armies? And the ones who are here are already squabbling with each other. And Torald dying is just going to give them one more thing to be upset about.
I like how, like, all the other High Lords are talking now. So, like, when Dalinar did the whole "what do you see," all the High Lords were just listening to the bridgeman just go like, I see lots of fucking clouds, mate. Yeah, all these clouds. And, like, what were they all thinking? What is Aladar and the rest just going, why are these guys here again?
Yeah, right? Like, who are these people? Why are they involved in this high-level conference? They've been learning bad lessons from Kaladin, who would often just, like, get involved in these discussions.
Yep.
And then he's like, Brightness Kalami, what do you know of the desolations? Destruction made manifest. So devastating to humankind that we were left broken. Populations ruined, society crippled, scholars dead. It got to the point where the heralds left people with swords and fabrials and returned to find them wielding sticks and stone axes. And the Voidbringers, the enemy, their goal to wipe humankind from Roshar. And he's like, yeah, so that's what's going to happen. And we have to stop it. That's why I can't rejoice in finding Sadeas dead. He was a thorn in my side, but a capable general and a brilliant mind. We needed him. Before this is through, we will need everyone who can fight. And Aladar, he's like, look, I used to be one of like I used to be like the other high princes, but what I saw out there in that fight with you, I'm in 100%. What do you want me to do? And now Dalinar's going to start handing out assignments. Like, you're now High Prince of Information, Aladar. I want you to command the law in this city, establish order. Sabariel, you're High Prince of Commerce. And I'm over here like, isn't the king supposed to make these appointments? Like,
isn't Elhokar here?
Elhokar is in the city.
Oh, no, he didn't come see the body.
Yeah, they called him to see the body, and Dalinar's like, I don't know if he'll come.
He's in Little Herdaz.
He's hanging out with Lopin's mom still.
Yeah, eating some chowder.
That's why Lopin is like so ready to speak in front of all these High Lords. Elhokar has appointed him his representative.
You are my official proxy, the Lopin.
Lopin just walks up. He's like, I'm the Lopin, and I speak for the king. And I say, listen to whatever Dalinar says. Also, more chowder.
Silence, everyone. You will no longer refer to me as the Lopin. You will now refer to me as the King's Lopin.
It's like the King's Wit, but better. You'll understand.
Also,
Wit's going to come back and just like, the fuck is this guy doing here?
I think Lopin could make a good Wit.
Yeah, maybe. Elhokar shows up. He's all fat from eating so much chowder. He's like, what's up, guys? They're like, what happened to you? He's like, the most delicious food in the world happened to me. You want some?
So Dalinar tells them our ultimate goal is the preservation of all of Roshar. And he's basically like, I'm going to unite the entire continent. And everyone's like, ooh, no one's ever done that. Wow. Not during the Shin invasions, not during the height of the hierarchy, not during the Sunmaker's conquest.
Which, okay. Those are some phrases.
Yeah, that's like when you play Halo 2 and they're like the Grunt Rebellion. You're like, wait, I want to know about that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard about the hierarchy, at least.
Yeah,
that one
the
we
Shin
know.
invasion. I want to know all about that.
Yep.
And also the Sunmaker's conquest. Are we talking about the Sunlit Man? Are we crossing the streams already? What's going on?
No, I think the Sunmaker is the guy we've heard of before. Let me check that real quick. And I spelled that wrong.
But my mind immediately goes to like the Shin invasions, the dudes who held all the honor blades invading.
But I guess they were too honorable to use them. Pardon the pun.
Maybe.
So the Sunmaker was the last Alethi king to unite the High Princes before Gavilar. We also are told at one point in Way of Kings that when the hierarchy were cast down, the Sunmaker made a point of interrogating them. So I guess this happened right after that, was the Sunmaker uniting everything. Let's see. We're told the Sunmaker was only 17 when he began his conquest. Okay. This guy united all the Alethi High Princes and went out and tried to conquer the whole continent. And apparently he did not succeed, it says.
All right, so he had Alexander the Great along the place.
I mean, yeah. We're also told here that that's Dalinar's ancestor, the Sunmaker. So that's interesting.
Oh, so it's like when Christopher Lee traced his lineage back to Charlemagne. Neat.
And he's like, the enemy is going to unleash its worst terrors, the Unmade, the Voidbringers, that phantom champion in the dark armor. Ah, Torol, what we could have done together if we hadn't been so divided. And he's giving assignments out to everybody, and Renarn's like, hey, what about me? And Shallan, what do we do? He's like, you guys practice with your powers. Other Radiants will be showing up, and we're going to have to lead them, so be ready. And Renarn's like, but Dad, I'm just me. Like, what am I supposed to do? And he says, hey, I trust you. The Almighty and the Spren have granted you powers to defend and protect this people. Use them. Master them. And then report back to me on what you can do, because I think we're all curious to find out. I love that bit. He's like, we all want to know what the heck what these powers do.
Why doesn't he just ask the Stormfather, be like, hey, do you know what my son does? Like, what is his deal? Do you know?
That might help. Yeah, right?
Mm.
But that's the end of that chapter. Renarin just goes, okay. Like, he nods, and that we finish up. And then we get...
Stormfather tries to butt in. He's like, I know what he does. He's like, shut up, you.
Quiet, you. Our last chapter is Momentum. 34 years ago. I think this, other than like the Prelude or whatever that was 4,500 years ago, I think this may be the farthest back we've gone. Rock buds crunched like skulls beneath Dalinar's boots as he charged across a burning field. That's a very evocative beginning there. And this is before he has shard plate, because he's just wearing regular armor, we're told. And before he has a shard blade, because he just has a regular old sword. Apparently, the people they're attacking had set this field on fire to basically guard this approach to their town while they fought on another front. Did not stop Dalinar and his men from going through. We find out that not all of his men make it. It says some of them are overwhelmed by smoke or heat, but most of them are fine, so it's all good.
Some will die. It's no big deal.
Just wave after wave of my own men at them.
Some of
Right,
you
Ben?
may die, but it is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Some of you. Yeah, okay. They got a tactic going, hammer and anvil, his favorite kind of tactic, the one that didn't allow his enemies to get away from him. And so Dalinar is, the Blackthorn is a badass, is I think what we come down with overall from this chapter.
This chapter feels like, you think Avatar: The Last Airbender, we're always told Iroh is a massive badass, and we do see him use it in his old age.
Yeah.
But this feels like this chapter feels like, all right, let's go back and see Iroh as a young man kicking all kinds of ass. When he was also fighting in service of a not so great empire.
Also true, yeah. He was a major general in the Fire Nation armies, so yeah, the invasion of the Earth Kingdom. So
Yep.
And a badass who breathes fire. He's like, do you know why they call me the Dragon of the West? It's
one of the best fucking moments of that show. In a show full of amazing moments.
Even though I think we later find out that that's not why, because like you get the title dragon when you kill a dragon, so the whole breathing fire had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but also that's the thing about Iroh. He likes to just pull out these really cool lines, and they're not going to have the scene of Zuko going, like, Uncle, that's not why they call you that, and Iroh's like, but did you see the look on her face?
It was great. Oh, I love Iroh so much.
Yeah.
Nephew, sometimes you tell a story because it's dramatic, not because it's true. Okay?
It says he hit the spearman like a boulder rolling through a grove of saplings, his sword tossing blood into the air. A good fight was about momentum, and there's our title drop for that one. Don't stop, don't think. Drive forward and convince your enemies they're as good as dead already. That way they'll fight you less as you send them to their pyres. Wow.
What's the line? Crush your enemies, drive them before you over the lamentations of their women.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the spearman.
Probably mess the words up, but I will.
I knew what you were going for. The lamentations of their women is the important part, right?
Yeah.
I started to search for it so I could find the whole quote. When I type in lamentations of TH, it says lamentations of the Flame Princess. I don't know what that is. But what is best in life?
Adventure Time?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of their women.
Oh, there we go.
All right. He doesn't need the lamentations so much. Dalinar's good. I love it says the spearmen are like shoving their spears at him frantically, but not even so much to kill him, just to try to get him away. It's like, no, stay over there. And he just laughs and uses his shield to slam their spears aside and then disembowels a guy. And then he has his elites, which we're told that it's not like he doesn't need a guard. Like what kind of loser needs a guard? These are just like the guys who can keep up with me. Dalinar came in with a roar, killing them with a sword that bore their friend's blood. I mean, it's just such evocative language in this chapter.
Yeah, it's really laying on thick. It's like, young Dalinar was a fucking great warrior, but not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all, yeah. And he sees this kid dying, and he thinks that he's not that much younger than me. So he's real young at this point, I guess, is the message that we have there. Although we're not told how young that person is who he thinks is not much younger than me. Oh, yes, we are. It says maybe 17. So he's a little bit older than that, maybe like early 20s.
Yeah, it's like, I imagine he's like probably around Adelin's current age.
And he's still like he's already this force. Dalinar charged. His elite's new to watch, and so he was joined by 50 men. And he focuses his attention on a guy riding a horse, the only guy on a horse. And he feels something inside, a thirst. He needs a challenge. And there's a moment, it's like he gets into a fight, and he's like, this isn't dueling. Like, we're not doing that thing. Acting like you're in a duel in the middle of a battle, that's how you get stabbed in the back by someone else other than the guy you're fighting with. So the guy brings up his shield, and Dalinar just like slams his weapon, his sword, onto the shield repeatedly. And the guy can do nothing but hold his shield up and try to block this. And then while he's distracted by that, he shoves the guy with his own shield to give himself an opening, and he kills the guy. And leaves the way open to the Bright Lord. Who is this guy? The High Prince fought for the North. Was this some important Light Eyes? No, the High Prince fought to the North. Was this some other important Light Eyes? Didn't Dalinar remember hearing something about a son during Gavilar's endless planning meetings? I love that he's like, I don't pay attention to any of that shit. Just, I want to fight.
Yeah, just tell me who to kill and I'll do it, all right?
And so, yeah, maybe this guy's the High Prince's son, whatever. It's just the guy, like, raises his sword in a sign of challenge, and Dalinar thinks, idiot. And he looks over at Jenin and motions to the guy, and Jenin shoots the horse in the chest. He's like, man, I hate shooting horses. Like throwing 1,000 bromes into the storming ocean.
Once a fucking again.
Right? Just Brandon. Come on, man.
This is like the saddest of drinking game. Drink every time the horse gets fucked up.
Like, Zarbon, get them. Get them? Yes. Dodoria? Yes. Get them. Get them? Yes. With gusto.
With gusto. So he goes in, and actually, he's doing really well until one of the straps on his shield breaks, and then things kind of take a turn, and Dalinar almost comes out dead from this exchange. But just as the guy's coming in for the kill, and Dalinar, like, his nose is broken, there's blood, he can't even see at the moment. But he thinks he's coming in for the kill and swings his blade up and parries expertly, just perfectly right there, and then punches the dude in the face. I'm sorry, the guy punched Dalinar in the face. That's when his nose breaks. I got ahead of myself. And Dalinar feels the thrill. Now he's got him. Someone, one of his guys, hollers his name, and because he's lost his sword at this point. And so somebody throws him a pole axe, and the guy tries to run. He trips him and swings down and right through his chest with that the pointy part of the pole axe, which causes the honor guard to break because the guy they're protecting is dead now. So as all of these honor guard run away, his men take their short bows out and shoot them down as they're fleeing, because that's what you do. And Dalinar's thinking, man, it feels great to like beat a larger force than your own. Like, look how awesome we are. And the guy on the ground is like, why us? And Dalinar goes, don't know. He's like, you don't know? No, my brother chooses. I just go where he points me. And then gestures for his friend Dim here to ram a sword into his heart. He fought reasonably well. No reason to make him suffer. And so, captain of his elites, Thaka, is like, what are your orders? And Dalinar goes, raid those buildings. Let's see how well they fight while they watch us rounding up their families. And he's like, the men will want to loot. Like, what is there to loot in these hovels? Soggy hogshide and old rockbud bowls? They can loot after. Right now I need hostages. There are civilians somewhere in this storming town. Find them. Like, dude, that's cold.
Very cold.
And then all of a sudden, there's an arrow in his shoulder.
Message for you, sir.
And Dalinar goes, who in damnation shot that? And one of his men's like, up there. But that's got to be over 300 yards. That can't. And then there's another arrow, and he has to jump out of the way. So they get their horses, and they ride up there. And I love that as they crest it, he's thinking, like, this guy's probably run off when he saw us coming. No, the guy is waiting for them and hits him with another arrow in the other shoulder as they get up there.
I just want to point this out. Like, he's got a horse here, and it's not his Rashadium.
No, yeah, this is before that, I guess. This horse is named Full Night.
Yeah, this is like pre-everything we know about Dalinar.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey,
Also,
maybe he even remembers his wife here.
Wasn't his Rashadium his Rashadium's white, right?
I think so.
And this
So,
one's
yeah.
black. It's really like a duality, right? He's like, ooh, evil Dalinar has a black horse. Cool, nice Dalinar has a white horse.
Yeah.
I have to look this up because Gallant is his horse. No, actually, Gallant the Rashadium is black.
Oh, really?
Oh, so he's a black horse guy. He's like, I like black horses.
Yeah, Adolin's Rashadium Sureblood is the one that's white. And it's funny because you asked that, and I have hanging above my desk that print that I got of the Alethi riding to war or whatever, and both of the horses are in that. So you asked it, and then I looked up and I went, no, that looks like a black horse Dalinar's riding on. So I had to look it up. Black coat and blue eyes with rectangular pupils is what we're told, apparently. So yeah, I guess he's a black horse kind of guy, just like Joe said.
Dude, did we know they had rectangular pupils before this?
I
think we probably did. I think I talked about it because I was like, man, they got like pupils like goats. It's crazy.
And so they get up here, and after the second arrow hits Dalinar, the guy finally tries to run. And Dalinar rides. He doesn't ride him down. He doesn't kill him, which he easily could. He just kind of kicks him and sends him to the ground. And then he gets off the horse, and he's like, dude, you waited until my helm was off. You're an assassin sent specifically to kill me. And the guy nods. Amazing. Show me that shot again. How far is that? It's over 300 yards, right? And Thak is like, almost 4, but with a height advantage. And Talar's like, it's still, dude, grab your bow. My bow? Are you deaf, man? Go get it. Right through my storming armor. Like, he's really impressed. And so he has the guy pick out a corpse and put an arrow in it. And the guy's like, okay, that one in blue. And he perfectly hits him. And Dalinar says, I'd have bet half a princedom before today that was an impossible shot. What's your name, assassin? And the guy does not reply. And Dalinar's like, okay, whatever. Welcome to my elites. Someone get him a horse. And like, I don't even need to know your name. It's fine. I'll forget it anyway, probably. So, you know. The archer's like, but I tried to kill you. And he's like, yeah, from a distance, which shows remarkably good judgment. I can make use of someone with your skills. And the guy's like, but we're enemies. And he says, no, not anymore. Look, you guys are surrendering. So I guess that makes us allies now. And the guy's like, slaves beneath your brother, the tyrant. And Dalinar's like, okay, look, if you'd rather be killed, I can respect that. Alternatively, you join me and name your price. And the archer goes, the life of my bright lord, Yezriar, the heir. And Dalinar looks over at Thaka like, is that the guy? The one you killed? Yeah. He's got a hole in his chest, Dalinar said. Tough break.
That guy who hired you, he's dead. Come on.
You monster. Couldn't you have captured him? Nah.
Just the whole, it's not no and no. It's specifically nah. It's like, man, that's just how callous he is.
And that's how cool Dalinar was back in the day. He'd just be like, nah. I like killing. It's fun.
I love stealing. Yeah, I love taking things. I like stealing this. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Joe did that last episode.
Yeah, last time on the Sanderlanche, we quoted that.
I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't let Dak listen to the last episode. You guys said a lot of nice stuff about him.
That's true. We did say a lot of nice things about Dak. It was a weird episode.
Jamie did mention that.
So the guy, Dalinar's like, look, how about this? Join me and we won't pillage the town. Well, what's left of the town. You in or not? I promise not to make you shoot anyone you like. And the guy goes,
But I want to kill you. You're an evil monster. Well, like, why should I join you? Just one word. Thundercuckoo Falconbird.
Thundercuckoo Falconbird. Yeah. This reminds me of the scene from Aladdin, King of Thieves, where there's that whole song that
welcome to the 30 Thieves? 40 Thieves.
He's like, are you in or out?
It's a good song.
Yeah. That is a good song. Also, the actor who played that guy was Gimli. John.
Oh, yeah. John Rhys Davies plays Aladdin's dad, yeah.
No.
Hey.
Yes, he plays Aladdin's dad. No, he plays the bad guy.
Hold on.
No, I think you're right. I think he plays Aladdin's dad, but the guy who plays the bad guy is also famous.
Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Who's in this movie? We're IMDbing a straight-to-video 1996 Aladdin threequel.
Oh, it was good, though. It's
I
the best
like
one.
it. Yeah, John Rhys Davies is Kasim, who is Aladdin's dad.
Okay, who plays the bad guy?
So the bad guy was called Saluk. Is that the bad guy? Let me see.
That sounds right.
Jerry Orbach.
Saluk was played by Jerry Orbach, who
nice.
also played Lumiere. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it was a famous guy. Jerry Orbach, Law and Order star, great guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize until he's a recurring. I've been watching. What's that show? Sorry, Murder, She Wrote, and he's a recurring guest in several episodes of Murder, She Wrote. And then I found out that it was like, yeah, he and Angela Lansbury were together again when they did this song for Beauty and the Beast. I was like, wait, he was in Beauty and the Beast? And sure enough, yeah, he's Lumiere.
Yeah.
I would not have imagined that.
Yeah, he was Law and Order for a long time, but I think he was also like a stage actor, so he did a lot of singing and stuff too.
Yeah,
he was Broadway royalty, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and which again, I would not have thought that from seeing him in the roles that I'd seen him in before.
Universal Soldier.
But it's good to have range, right? So
yeah, he's a cool guy. But yeah, that's in or out. That's like the Dalinar strikes me as that guy right now. What's it gonna be? Consider carefully.
I mean, alternatively, you can make the case he's Tim Curry in Muppet Treasure Island, and this guy's Jim Hawkins. And they're singing Professional Pirate at him.
I mean, I could see that, I guess. Dalinar doesn't seem as friendly as John Silver, but
yeah,
John Silver secretly was not as
no-named. Right, this no-named Archer. I want to know what happened to him.
Yeah, is he still around somewhere?
Yeah, who knows?
The guy's just like, and Dalinar goes, great. And a short time later, Dalinar's elites rode up. The sullen Archer was on a horse. So yeah, he's in, I guess. They'd missed the executions. Sadeas already had the local high prince's head and those of the officers up on spears, which the Archer curses about. And he's like, I got to talk to that guy. I have to reinforce that when he shot me, he was shooting an enemy. That was to be respected. You can't try something against us now that you're part of the team. That's a different story. Thaco would already be searching out the fellow's family. So that has a sinister undertone.
Leak.
Yeah.
Yep. Need leverage.
Sadeas, on the other hand, already has his shard plate, golden yellow shard plate.
God damn it. I really thought after the end of the last book we wouldn't have to see any more of this asshole, but here he is in the past, like a fucking prat.
Not only that, he's been in battle in his shard plate, and sometime between the end of the battle and now, they've already washed him clean, so his yellow shard plate is shiny and not covered in blood.
He's like, get the buckets, get me hosed off.
The red-faced young man looked far older than he had a year ago. When they'd all started this, he'd still been a gangly youth. And young Sadeas.
Ugh.
And Dalinar goes, nice work. No, actually, hold on. I like Sadeas goes, what happened to your face? And Dalinar goes, a fist. And then he nods towards the heads on spears. Nice work. And Sadeas is like, well, we lost the crown prince. He's going to mount a resistance. And Dalinar goes, well, that would be impressive considering what I did to him. And Sadeas is like, Dalinar, what would we do without you? And Dalinar goes, lose. Someone get me something to drink and a pair of soldiers in that order. Or a pair of surgeons, sorry, in that order. Also, Sadeas, I promised we wouldn't pillage the city. No looting, no slaves. And he's like, what? Who did you promise? And Dalinar points to the Archer and he's like, another one?
He's like, the looting's the best part.
This is hilarious because it's like, Dalinar picks up good soldiers all the time from opposing armies. And Sadeas just like, oh god, another one. It's like, very Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan's like, have we picked up another pathetic life form? It's like, can you imagine like Qui-Gon, he's picking up Jar Jar or Anakin only after they try to kill him? Where's that version of Phantom Menace?
It's true.
It's hard to imagine Jar Jar trying in any successful way to kill Qui-Gon, but
Better than Jar Jar we got. Anyway,
okay, fair.
That's a can of worms.
I like Sadius says another one, and Dalinar goes, he's got amazing aim. Loyal, too. And then he looks over, and Sadius' soldiers have started rounding up weeping women for Sadius to pick from. And Sadius is like, I was looking forward to tonight.
Gross. Oh,
yeah.
Brandon, we already hated Sadius. You didn't need to, like, yeah.
And he's dead.
Yeah. Dalinar goes, I was looking forward to breathing through my nose. We'll live. More than can be said for the kids we fought today. And Sadius is like, fine. We can spare one town, a symbol that we're not without mercy. Whatever. Dalinar, we need to get you some shards. And Dalinar's like, to protect me? Protect you? Storms, Dalinar. At this point, I'm not certain a rock slide could kill you. No, it just makes the rest of us look bad when you do all this practically unarmed. I love that. Yeah, we need to get you shards so you don't make me look as bad. And then the battle's over, and the chapter ends with Dalinar thinking, I'm done living for the day. It'll be weeks, maybe months before I get to live again, before I get to fight. And that is the end of our section for today. So young Dalinar lives for the fight, and that is it, basically. That is not much like the Dalinar we know.
So he gets the thrill here. And like when he gets the thrill in Way of Kings, we saw he's revolted by it, yeah?
Not at first, but eventually, yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that's an interesting contrast, especially considering from Taravangi's chapter, we know that the thrill is brought on by one of the evil Spren, like the Unmade.
Yeah, one of the Unmade.
Was it Moloch who did that, or one of the others?
I think Moloch is the one that he says is behind the death rattles.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, let me look this up. Yes, Moloch is the one that's associated with the death rattles. Oh, the one that we're told is associated with the thrill is Nergaul, however you would say that. Nergaul. So, yeah, the Unmade. Okay, so we're moving into predicaments now, you two. Where are we going from here? We now know who the flashback character is for the book, and we've gotten a peek at, look, the last two books, maybe more the second one than the first one, although the first one's pretty bad. The flashbacks have been pretty horrendous. Like, not I'm not saying written badly, but like bad shit happens.
Yes.
They're not fun. So now it's Dalinar's turn for that treatment, assuming that the trend continues. So predicaments. What do we think is going to happen in this book going forward? We're reading 3 chapters for next time. Chapter 4 is called Oaths. Chapter 5 is called Hearthstone, and Chapter 6 is called 4 Lifetimes.
4, 5, 6, was it?
Yes, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Hearthstone Oaths. Was Hearthstone Kaladin's hometown?
It is indeed.
Okay, well, so that's going to be Kaladin getting home, maybe seeing how his dad is doing, and his mum, and maybe Rashern if he's still alive. Hopefully he's not, but we'll see.
Maybe that's why Moash couldn't get revenge on Rashern. He already did that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe Kaladin will get there and find Moash already there going after Rashern and going, yeah, I'll let you have this one.
He's like, well, I can't blame you for that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Not sure about the rest. I guess, yeah, we'll find out. Oaths maybe just people swearing to Dalinar in the New World Order. I don't know. As for where the book is going, so it's Dalinar flashbacks. I think we all kind of expected that one, given the title. So he's got none of the stuff that we've seen him have. He doesn't have his shard blade, doesn't have his shard plate, doesn't have his horse. We don't know his marital status or his parental status, so we'll find out about those. But I feel like we'll see a bit of the conquest, we'll see a bit of Gavilar, which will be cool. We can see Gavilar from Dalinar's perspective, which may or may not be good considering this is Dalinar's bloodthirsty perspective, so that'll be interesting. But if I had to take a gamble, I'd say that these flashbacks are going to eventually build up to him meeting the Night Watcher, and whatever it was he swears to the Night Watcher, like whatever boon he seeks, and yeah, however, whatever goes through that. Yeah, I'd say that's where Dalinar's going.
Okay.
In his flashbacks. Yeah, I don't really know what else to. I think everything I predicted for Urithiru where they are in the present day is pretty much what I said at the end of the last book. Now that they found Sadis is dead, and they're like, yeah, see previous episode for that.
I mean, yeah, what happened with him and the memories of his wife and the Night Watcher, all that kind of stuff, that's probably our biggest Dalinar mystery at this point, right?
Yeah.
So that would make sense if we're building to that.
Yeah, well, like, just given the fact that this one is 34 years ago, I think, okay, well, maybe the flashbacks will span a much larger time frame than Kaladin or Shallan's ever did.
He's older than them, so it would make sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe it'll be we'll see some of his wife, and we'll see, like, you know, the day his sons were born, the days his sons were born, and, like, his life as he starts to think maybe, like, this isn't so great, and he goes to the Night Watcher for an answer, and then some whatever fucky shit goes down from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I was trying to think back to the previous books and what their flashbacks were building to. So Kaladin's, it was really like, what happened to Tien? How did Kaladin become a slave? I think were the big mysteries. And then Shallan's, we knew she'd killed her father. I don't know if how she killed her father was the big mystery, or if it was like the follow-up to that was like, oh, and by the way, she killed her mother also.
Well, yeah, but like the mother we didn't get. Like, we saw the aftermath of killing the mother in the flashbacks, but we didn't actually get a flashback of her doing it.
It's true.
Like, we just got...
Also, did anybody else kind of already just kind of know that must have been what happened? I feel like a lot of stuff was pointing to the fact that she was the one who killed her mom before that. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, there were definitely hints. We know Brandon's style is to drop these hints so that
right
when it happens, you're, even if you didn't see it coming, you're like, oh, I could totally have seen that coming if I thought about like these particular foreshadowing bits.
Yeah, it's just like he was protecting her. Yeah, it was like a whole thing.
So, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Man, oaths. I mean, that's got to be them trying to figure out how to complete their oaths. Maybe. I feel like to become Radiance. Maybe it's Shallan heavy. That'd be nice to have some Shallan. Hearthstone, yeah, that's got to be Kaladin getting home and figuring out what's going on. And what was the third one?
The third one is 4 lifetimes.
4 lifetimes. Yeah, I'm kind of with Dak on that. Maybe it's another flashback, but I don't know what 4 lifetimes would be. Yeah, so we've got some interesting old Dalinar stuff. So I kind of like Dak's idea that maybe we'll follow that path. Like, it'll span more of his lifetime because he's had a longer life, and we'll get to see some poignant moments in his life. With it being a Dalinar flashback book, I am actually surprised that he wasn't the prologue perspective. But again, we did say he was drunk for most of that, so that may not have been super helpful. But yeah, I don't know. You know, we're just getting started. I think at the end of the last book, I said we're going to figure out kind of who the big bad is and how to defeat the big bad, and that seems to be like the direction that we're heading in with Dalinar in his vision, seeing Odium, seeing these 9 shadows of the Unmade. Like, maybe that's where we're going. They're gonna manifest themselves, because that'd be really interesting, right? Because I feel like that'd be quite a big turn for this book. Like, these evil aspects or whatever they are of Odium, like, manifesting onto Roshar, and then like them becoming a part of the main storyline, like leading Voidbringer armies or whatever. You know, that'd be really different and interesting from what we've experienced so far. Because if this is like, I got to be honest with you, if Oathbringer is a political thriller, I'm going to be a little bored.
Okay.
We got quite a bit of politics in the first and second book. Not over, not crazy amounts. But like, yeah, them setting up on the tower, trying to unite like the world against this fighting, against these forces. Like, if it's all about politics and wordplay, I'm going to be like, ooh. So,
surely not with the story about to come back through.
Surely. But you never know. You never know, Dak. Anyway, but I am looking forward to it. I'm hoping for the best here. I really want Kaladin to come back into the action, and Shallan as well. And Yasna. Like, I just want all of our cool characters together on the same page. But we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you get some serious action with Dalinar in the flashback this time.
Yeah, but the stakes were really low because it's a flashback.
Yeah, you're like, I know he's not gonna die. I've seen him after this.
Yeah. That always cracks me up in any like animated thing that I've watched, because I feel like this is a trope in animated shows where it's like showing you a flashback of like the main characters going through some really like difficult stuff, like they might die, and you're like, well, I know they're not gonna die because this is a flashback. So
You're like, I watched Dragon Ball Z before Dragon Ball, so I already know that Goku's gonna make it.
right, yeah.
Although Goku doesn't make it sometimes, it's just that he comes back.
Well, he only
the
didn't
whole
make it
thing
at
is
the
like-
beginning of Dragon Ball
Dragon
Z,
Ball
and then
Z,
several
yeah.
other times in Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, it's like if you watch Dragon Ball Z first, and then you go back and watch Dragon Ball, you're like, well, I know Goku's gonna win. He's gonna beat King Piccolo because, you know.
Well, yeah,
He
but
beats
actually,
him.
it's like, but they're like weird like frenemies in the future. How does this happen?
That's Goku's thing. He turns everybody into a frenemy.
That's true, but I don't think you see it coming that he kills King
Except
Piccolo
his
and then
brother.
King Piccolo like vomits up an egg.
That is also him somehow. It's
Yeah,
like a
right.
clone of himself, I guess.
But you're like, I know Chi-Chi's gonna make it. Seen her.
But it's like you might go, oh, I know Krillin's going to make it. I've seen him, and then surprise, oh, he does actually die in that arc.
Yeah. Oh boy, does he.
It's like comics. Death is has very little meaning. It's fine.
Yeah. Speaking of comics, I've started reading a new Batman series called Absolute Batman. Pretty good. It's definitely like a reimagining of the origins of Batman.
That's the one where he's got like the bat symbol on his chest looks really odd, and everyone's like, why does it look like that? Then it turns out he can take it off and make it into a fucking axe.
Oh, because yeah, I pulled that up. I had never heard of it. I pulled it up, and that was my first thought. I was like, the bat symbol looks like a rectangle. What is up with that? Okay.
So the backstory, just to completely diverge from what we're talking about, is like in this world, Batman's dad was a teacher, not a super rich dude, and Batman was like a super smart kid when he was young, and he was really good at like engineering, and so he grows up and becomes an engineer and uses all his engineering skills to be Batman. So he doesn't have tons of money, but he has really good engineering skills.
That's neat.
Yep. And then also for fans of the old Batman Hush series, they're actually coming out with a sequel, starting with All In Batman issue 158. They're bringing a sequel to the original Hush storyline.
Don't know how I feel about that. I'm not the biggest fan of Jeff Loeb.
Oh, really? I definitely like that they got all the same guys back because I love the artwork in that series.
Well, yeah, that was like Jim Lee at his best. Like the artwork
Yeah.
in the original Hush was great, but yeah, Jeff Loeb as a writer, like, I'll never forgive him for Red Hulk. Fucking hate Red Hulk.
Well, I'm guessing you did not like that Captain America movie then.
Actually, you know what? The way they did Red Hulk in that movie, I'm just like, this is so much better than how they did it in the comics.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. I actually like that movie pretty well, but my issue being that they centered the entire advertising campaign around Red Hulk, and then the movie it's playing it like you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
like somebody
that's not
did that
good.
wrong.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and considering how spoiler-averse Marvel normally is, that's so weird.
Oh, there's
Anyway.
a whole absolute universe to go along Absolute Batman. Interesting. Okay.
I think it started with like Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and then it's like
Mhm.
they've been so successful, so now they're spinning out like Green Lantern, Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
and Martian Manhunter are all getting their bits.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman, basically, DC's like been trumpeting most of their comic series on the big three, they call them, right? So that's Batman,
Yeah.
Superman, and Wonder Woman, and so they'll have lots of crossover stuff. I think what I'm looking for is just consistency, because I started collecting Batman books in like 2014, 2015, and my issue was that like even though it was supposed to be the same storyline, they would have different writers on the books. And so like the stories didn't match up well. And so you'd read one issue and then you'd read the very next issue and you'd be like, all right, I feel like I missed something. I'm confused. And it's not even like there was a separate comic that went along with it in between. It was literally like, because they were different writers, the stories didn't link correctly. Right. So the thing I like about Absolute Batman is that it's one writer.
Yeah.
That's Scott Snyder, isn't it?
Yeah. Who did he did like the Court of Owls, all that stuff.
Yeah, see, I read his whole run, like in, I think it was DC. Is that New 52 or was that Rebirth? I forget which.
New 52.
New 52. Like everyone says, like his series is really good. I read it all. I'm just like, it left me cold. I didn't enjoy it.
It was fine, but when you compare it to what came after it and the stuff that was coming out before it, that's why people think it's so good, because stuff was kind of crappy before and after that.
Yeah, fair.
This says Darkseid created the absolute universe to be a world where heroes were the underdogs and lacked the advantages of their Earth Zero counterparts. Which is why Bruce Wayne gets to be poor, and I wonder what advantages he's taken away from other people. Interesting.
I don't know. I have seen, if you haven't seen it, the artwork for Absolute Bane is hilarious.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
Okay, hold on. Absolute Bane.
He's got like the tiny head.
He does. I wasn't looking at the tiny head. I was looking at the rest of him. I'm like, it looks kind of, except for the fact that he has a bottom half of a shirt and not a top half for some reason. That looks more or less normal. But his head is real tiny. Huh. Okay, anyway, back to the book that we're doing.
Yeah, that was our comic book segment. If you like comics, hope you enjoyed that.
Well, actually, before we go back, since we're talking comics, the latest episode of the X-Men audio drama that I do dropped. Episode written by me.
Yeah. Ooh, nice.
So if you go on YouTube, search for Scyther Inc. or X-Men the audio drama, you'll find it. The new episode, season 4, episode 6, Malice Towards All.
Wow.
Do they need to have listened to previous episodes to understand what's going on in that episode?
Well, we've started doing previously on X-Men bits at the start of the show, which is fun. But
nice.
I would recommend going back and listening, just because it's a fun show.
Yeah.
Check out the X-Men audio drama, people.
I've started re-listening to it from the start as well. And it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. Like, obviously there are some rough bits, especially in the show's early days, but this is fun little fan adaptation of the X-Men books.
Very nice. Just check that out, people. All right. Well, I guess we finished the predicaments, right?
We did.
We have 1 new patron. Joe, get your list ready. In the meantime, we'll do a couple emails. The first email we have is from Ben. Oh, and this one has a Spotify review attached, so I guess get that list too while I read this. This one has no subject. It says, "Hey, Jamie, Joe, Dak, and Data. I've heard great things about the Cosmere for a while and decided to jump in this winter. I had found a similar podcast while I was reading The Wheel of Time, where a newbie was guided through the series by a vet. Shout out to the Wheel Weaves podcast," which I'll stop to say I've heard many good things about that. I went through The Wheel of Time way too fast to listen to a podcast about it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that one. "And I wanted to have a similar experience with Sanderson's work. I'm so happy I found you guys. I've been reading along with you, and it's been quite a ride. You guys sometimes pick up on things I never saw coming, and when we have similar theories, I get so hyped up. I'm currently about a quarter of the way through the Lost Metal, and I think it's pretty cool that Joe, Jamie, and Dak have all had at least one huge prediction pan out. It's been kind of a crash course in not only the content of the first half of the Cosmere, but has been cool to see how things have progressed over the last 4 years in the real world, with book releases and Sanderson news that Data has been sharing with you guys. Kind of a cool perspective to get for a Cosmere newbie like myself. It feels like I was able to get excited for things that I already knew were out, and makes me excited for what it's going to be like when I finally catch up to y'all. I'm also a new dad, so it's been great to see your journeys as new parents, and it's been cool to hear your experiences in that realm too. I'm already trying to plan what I'm going to do when I finally catch up to you guys. I think I'm so used to reading along with you that I might put myself through the torture of a few chapters a week. Really feel the pain of Jamie, Joe, and Dak."
Oh man, a few people have tried it. Let us know how long you last.
Right? "Great job. Keep this thing going. Keep up the good work. Ben from Boston. P.S. 5 stars on Spotify," and he attached the 5 stars.
Thanks, man. That was a great email.
Yeah. So, Joe, what do you got?
Oh, man, what a great review that was. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you. You, my friend, you could be a slider.
That's a good one. That's the one Wayne is, right? Or is...
Yeah.
I always mix
Sliders are the ones that make super fast time.
Yeah. I always mix up the names for the one that Wayne is and the one that Marisai is. Slider and
She's a pulser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Next email is from Ashish. "I caught up again. Hey, Data and the Sanderlanchers." Cool band name. I caught up with you guys again, and this is my second time writing in. By the way, I finished book 3 and will start reading book 4. And I think Joe will have a higher than 8 rating for it after finishing it. Also, there's a predicament about what Joe's rating will be.
Oh, book 4, huh? Well, we got a long way to go.
Well, they say they just finished book 3, so it may be that they're saying you'll have that rating for book 3 because they just started book 4.
I thought they said book 4. They just finished book 4.
I mean, I guess that's still a long time until we get to that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, 30. What'd you say? 39 weeks?
39. Yep. 38 now.
Dear God.
I love hearing you guys discuss and predict stuff that's going to happen. You have kept going, kept bringing us new episodes, even when you have so much going on in your lives. For that, I'm really grateful. Hope to hear you till the end. Don't know where the end is yet. Recently, I heard Data live read the part with Nightblood and Seth, and I have to say, you guys should create a whole audiobook with the whole crew involved. It's another thing. I don't know shit if it's legal or not to do, but anywho.
It is not.
It's not.
We would absolutely get a C&D.
Yeah. Joe, didn't you read the Twilight books on YouTube or something?
Yeah, I got a strike on that. Had to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I thought I had covered myself with some legal jargon speak at the beginning, but I was incorrect.
But anywho, your narration was amazing, and I'm guessing everyone can narrate some characters so well as well. I mean, yeah, Joe and Dak would totally beat me on any sort of acting with their incredible acting talent.
Yeah, I've been really busy outside of the podcast, so I haven't had time, but I was looking at starting that YouTube channel back up and doing, stuff that's in the public domain. But
nice, yeah.
Mainly Sherlock Holmes probably be good.
I love
good
Sherlock
fodder
Holmes.
for that.
Yep. It's short, like bite-sized pieces that makes sense.
Yeah.
I my first thought was like, Count of Monte Cristo is my favorite book, and that's in the public domain. But that is not short.
Oh, is it?
Way.
No, it sure is not.
That book is so big you could beat an intruder with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a behemoth of a book.
I'm also subscribed to your Patreon at the Ska level. I don't know if I'll be assigned any Misting Power or not, but I've always wanted a reading order assigned to me by Joe. This actually a person this was creating a library was their name that we did last week, I think. So maybe I should have read the email last week. But also, I'm not sure when this will be read. So if you're reading this at the time Joe knows all the radiant orders, please assign me one. No, we haven't gotten there.
Nope.
Let's play Kiss, Marry, Kill with Stormlight Archive characters. What do people think, and what are your answers? I'm guessing Dak is going to kill Moash.
I'm gonna pass on this. I don't think this is a good game.
Oh.
Feel free to pass, Dak.
Joe's like, I'm passing.
Now you know what? Let's break away from the Moash thing. Let's kiss Shallan, marry Yasna, and kill Rashon. There we go.
Man, you're actually not far off of what I was thinking. I was like,
Dude,
Shallan.
Now that you've said that, I kind of want to play.
Shallan would be a lot of baggage to marry, I feel like, but she seems like she could also be a lot of fun to like hang out with. So I could totally see that. It's like not like a long-term relationship thing, but a fun person to be around.
You know what? I am going to play now. Dax talked me into it. Although my list is going to be very similar. The only thing I'm going to change on my list, because I think that was a great list, definitely kiss Shallan, definitely marry Yasna, but I'm going to kill, asshole. What's his name?
Moash?
No, not him.
Taravangian?
Asshole. Amaram.
Amaram. That's a good person to kill. Yep.
Although Taravangian would probably be more beneficial to the world. No, Amaram. He's the worst.
And I do love Yasna. I feel like this is too easy a game. Maybe it's just that we're all guys and there's not all that many female characters that are that we know well.
Really, the only other options we've got, like female-wise, are Navani and Mask Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Eatil.
We'll have to holster this question and ask Jamie.
And Eli,
she'll have a completely different perspective.
I would think Jamie's perspective would be different. Yeah.
She's like, no, kiss Shallan, marry Yasna, kill Amaram. Why wouldn't you?
Oh man, I feel like there's also lots of good candidates for kill. Like Sadius is already dead, or he'd probably be my candidate for that. But
yeah, I feel like Moash was the obvious choice for kill. But you know what? Let's just make the assumption that he's already dead, and we live in a much better world.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for your email. Oh gosh, let's do this. Let's do one more email because it's also pretty short. This one is from Naomi. It says, "Hey, Sanderlands crew, it's Naomi again. I haven't emailed in a while, but I'm enjoying the podcast. I'll often listen to it while commuting to and from college or work. I'm very excited for y'all to get to Oathbringer. Out of all the books so far, I consider Oathbringer to have some of my favorite scenes in the series. Unfortunately, when I first read it, I was majorly spoiled for a lot of the moments." And then she tells me some of those moments. I obviously won't tell you guys. I'm glad I'll be able to live.
Don't put us in the same category as her.
Right, that'd be mean. I'm glad I'll be able to live vicariously through y'all. If I wasn't spoiled, I think Oathbringer would be my favorite. That's currently Words of Radiance, but I'm only a third of the way through Wind and Truth, so maybe it'll take the top spot. Something interesting I would like to point out is that we currently know the names of 7 out of the 10 Radiant Orders. What do you think the names of the last 3 could be? Wishing you the best, Naomi, Crabs Ahoy. If you guys can remember the names of 7 orders that we've learned so far, I will be impressed.
Okay. All right. Let me try.
Hold on. Yeah.
So, Windrunner.
Yep.
Bondsmith.
Uh-huh.
That's 2.
Lightweaver.
Yep.
That's 3.
Elsecaller.
Mhm.
That's 4.
Skybreaker.
Yep.
That's 5.
That,
What's the one that Lift is? Did we say that one already?
He hasn't
that's
said that one.
Edge Dancer.
Oh, Edge
We
Dancer.
just read the novella. Yeah, I was like, you got to get that one.
Edge Dancer.
So we only need one
shit.
more.
One more, and it's fuck. It's Yasna, isn't it? I've missed.
No,
it.
she's an Elsecaller.
She's an Elsecaller.
She's an Elsecaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said that one.
Okay.
Let me think. We don't know what Renarin is.
Oh, we do actually. He says it at the end of the book.
Oh,
That is I
Seer.
think the one that you're missing.
did I get that wrong? Seer?
No, yeah, that's not what it is.
No, it's
Oh, no, that's
it'll
the-
be,
That's
it'll
the
be a
Mistborn
3-syllable
thing.
thing.
It's like something
No.
like Seer, though, isn't it? Isn't it similar?
You're in the right neighborhood, maybe.
No, I don't have it.
Foreseer?
It is. You
I
ready?
can see the future.
It is Truth Watcher.
Truth
Watcher.
Watcher. That's what it is.
It's like the Night Watcher, but just for truth, not night.
I feel like I've looked
I mean,
this up. I
six,
feel like
six,
there's
six
another
out of 7. That feels not bad.
No, I mean
Yeah.
that's better than I expected from y'all, honestly. So way to go.
Oh, we knew, all our main characters that are, we knew.
See, I knew there was one more that we read in Words of Radiance, because we're told that there's an order that they don't like their name. They prefer to be called something else. And it says that
Okay.
the Dustbringers did not like
Dustbringers.
what they were called because it sounds too much like
Yeah.
Voidbringers.
Yeah, well,
They
and
prefer-
also Dustbringer sounds just like a crappy name anyway.
It says they prefer to be
Yeah.
called the Releasers.
That also is
I was
not
about to
good.
say it's not
Ugh.
better than Dustbringers. No. But so
Both of them are just making things dirty.
we knew at least, or we'd heard at least 8 of them. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Dustbringers, Releasers. What are they doing?
I think Dustbringer sounds cool just because it sounds like kind of ominous.
Yeah, maybe if it was like, I don't know, Windbringers, it'd be more interesting.
But they don't bring the
Dustbringers.
wind; they bring the dust.
Well, I don't. Do they actually? Is that what they do?
We don't know. We have no idea. Ugh. Good times. Good times.
So what they're trying, like they said, guess what the last 2 would be.
Yeah. I think it said, "Do you have any ideas about what the rest would be?" I forgot that part of the question until you said it. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, what are the last 2?
Ooh.
Don't know how we would make a guess on this.
Oh, I was going to say they all have to be 3 syllables. No, they don't. Bondsmith. Okay.
But they're all like 2 words, kind of. It's like Bond and Smith, Dust and Bringer,
yeah.
Light Weaver.
Skybreaker. I'm just trying to make something up. Shit. No, I got nothing. I'm trying. I got nothing.
Fair. Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
I could sit here for another 10 minutes trying to think of something, and it might be great, but we're not going to waste anyone's time.
Let's see. We've got. Well, they all do something, right? We got Caller, Bringer, Smith, Watcher,
Runner,
Weaver,
Breaker.
Runner, Breaker, Dancer.
Dancer. Yeah.
So maybe it's another like word like that. But yeah, I get
Evil Reaper.
Yeah,
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
They reap the evil.
they reap the evil. Breaker.
But yeah, it would be really hard to just randomly try to pick one out of thin air for that. But not a bad try, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, that's almost all of our emails. We have one more that we'll save for next time. Thank you, people who emailed. If anyone would like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Blue Sky. And Patreon, where I'm continuing to post my reactions to Wind and Truth for the first time. And if you join our Patreon, Joe will assign you a faring power, which he's about to do for our new patron this week. Joining us at the misting
Oh
level
boy,
is Connor.
Connor. Man, I don't know what power to give you. Let's see. What would I want? I do like Archivist, but I think I'm gonna make you a Fire Soul. Yeah, I like that one.
Nice. That one sounds cool, I have to say. So thank you, Connor. Thank you, all of our patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everyone out there on the Discord, people leaving us reviews, people just showing up every week and listening to us ramble on about these books. We appreciate you all. You're awesome. Remember, we are doing 3 more chapters for next time. That's chapters 4, 5, and 6. So if you're reading along, read those. Music by Miracle of Sound and Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs a hole.
Coronas wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.